Have you ever felt like you're just a piece in someone else's chess game? You know, like you're being used to fight a battle you never even signed up for. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on an ancient military strategy that, believe it or not, is probably being played out in your office right now. This is a deep dive into the art of the indirect attack.
Picture this. You're at your desk, just trying to get through your day, and a colleague comes over. They lean in and whisper, "Can you believe what so-and-so did?" And boom, just like that, you're not just a coworker anymore. You're an unwilling recruit in a war you didn't even know existed. It feels kind of icky, right? Like you've just been handed a weapon you never, ever asked for.
Well, guess what? That feeling is not just in your head. It is a calculated move. It's a play from a very old and, frankly, very brutal playbook. We're talking about a strategy that has been used to topple entire empires. And now it's being used to settle scores in the cubicle right next to you.
It's stratagem number 3, borrow a knife to kill. The absolute genius of it is in its simplicity and its sheer ruthlessness. You want to take out an enemy, right? But you don't want to get your hands dirty. So what do? You find someone else to do the dirty work for you. You get the win and they get the blame. It's basically the perfect crime.
And this isn't just some random historical tidbit. This comes straight from the 36 Stratagems, a text that's been passed down in the halls of power for centuries. You can think of it as the darker, grittier cousin to Sun Tzu's The Art of War. This book isn't just about winning battles. It's about winning at literally any cost.
And here, you can see the straight line from the ancient battlefield to the modern boardroom. The strategy is exactly the same. Damage an enemy without taking any of the heat yourself. The only thing that's really changed is the scale. Instead of armies, we're talking about careers, and instead of swords, we're talking about whispers and emails.
So, what does this borrowed knife look like today? Well, it's not a blade of steel. It's a far more subtle weapon, and it's called triangulation. Triangulation is the absolute art of the indirect attack. Someone has a problem with a colleague, but instead of actually talking to them about it, either because they're afraid or because it's part of their strategy, they come to you. They vent, they complain, they try to get you on their side. They're not just looking for a shoulder to cry on, they are actively looking for a weapon. And this is pretty much how it works, every single time. The instigator has a problem, but instead of going to the source of the problem, they go to you, the knife. And the target? Well, the target is left completely in the dark, totally unable to defend themselves, probably not even aware they're under attack in the first place. Let's be crystal clear here. This is not harmless office gossip. This stuff is a poison. It corrodes trust, it absolutely destroys relationships, and it can turn a professional, healthy environment into a total battlefield. Here's a real-world example that happened in a hospital. A group of nurses had an issue with the night nurse's work, but instead of talking to her about it, they all went and complained to their manager. Suddenly, the manager becomes the knife, the night nurse is the target, and a simple problem that could have been fixed with a 5-minute conversation spiraled into a toxic, miserable work environment for everyone. So you have to wonder, what kind of person does this? What is the psychological profile of someone who pulls the strings from the shadows like a puppet master? Well, research points to a pretty chilling psychological profile known as the dark triad. It's this toxic cocktail of 3 specific personality traits that, when they're all mixed together, create a master manipulator. First up is psychopathy. Now, in an office, this isn't about violence. It's about a chilling lack of empathy and being perfectly comfortable with deceit. Then you've got Machiavellianism, this cold, calculating belief that the ends always justify the means, where people are just pawns in your game. And finally, there's narcissism, that bottomless pit of need for admiration and a willingness to step on anyone to get it.
And here is the real key to understanding them. These individuals don't just dislike teamwork, they see it as a direct threat. A united front, a team that talks openly and honestly, that's their absolute worst nightmare. Why? Because they thrive in the chaos and division that they create.
The data on this is actually fascinating. While, of course, anyone is capable of manipulation, study after study has shown that men tend to score significantly higher in their willingness to use these kinds of tactics in the workplace. It's just a pattern, but it's one that's definitely worth noting.
Okay, so we've seen the weapon, and we've met the warrior. Now for the most important part of all, how do you defend yourself? How do you make sure you're not the next victim, or worse, the next knife?
The very first step is just awareness. How can you tell if you're being weaponized? Well, it's that moment. That moment when you find yourself right in the middle of a conflict that has absolutely nothing to do with you, and you feel that pressure, that little nudge to take a side.
The way to fight back is, believe it or not, pretty simple. You have to be direct. See, assertive communication is like kryptonite to a manipulator. You have to break the triangle. And the way you do that is by flat out refusing to play their game. Here are 3 simple but incredibly powerful things you can do. First, when someone starts complaining to you, just ask them, have you talked to them about this? Second, encourage them to do exactly that. And third, if they won't, you draw a line in the sand. You just say, you know what, I'm not getting in the middle of this.
And here's the beautiful thing. You hold all the power. This entire strategy, this ancient art of manipulation, it completely falls apart without the borrowed knife. Just by refusing to be that knife, you disarm the manipulator and you force them out of the shadows and into the light.
So there you have it, a deep dive into an ancient tactic that's alive and well. Now that you can see the strings, take a look around your own life. Who's pulling them? And more importantly, are you one of the puppets, or are you the one who's going to cut the strings?